Hello, and welcome to the Iron Spoon Kitchen, where now we actually have an iron spoon, except it looks more like a scoop than a spoon. I don't think you could put anything in it. You could stir with it, but you couldn't fill it with water or anything. But still, sounds good, doesn't it? Anyway, I thought it was important to have an iron spoon in the Iron Spoon Kitchen. What we're doing today is, and with all the episodes, is that we're going over 250 years of cookbooks or books of cookery in honor of our country's 250th anniversary that's coming up in 2026. Last episode, we went through a book of cookery from 1796. And this year, my sister reminded me that she had our great grandmother's cookbook, and I asked to see that. And it had some really neat recipes in it, or receipts, if you remember the first episode. This is called Woman's Favorite Cookbook. One of the things I noticed, I looked this up online to find out more about it, and there's another printing of this, the exact same cover except for the title. Instead of, it says Woman's Favorite, it says Canada's Favorite. So there was quite a bit of marketing going on even back then. One of the things I found that was interesting about this, and with a lot of the recipes I've looked at, is that people knew what they were doing. There's a tendency for us to think that, oh, we figured out everything, and people had things figured out pretty good decades or even a century ago, more than a century ago, especially with cooking. Now, there may not be some of the finer qualities and things to add to different recipes from testing and all, but these recipes were tested, and this was written by, let's see, Annie Gregory. She is the author, and she apparently had some other books out, and she wrote to 1,000 acquaintances, she says in here, and asked for their recipes, and that was how she compiled this book. And it not only has recipes, it tells you uh, how to prepare for a party. It gives you menus. It gives you etiquette, all different sorts of things, and even talks about having quality food and not having food that is made with poor ingredients. And that's something we've heard for years and years. It says here, this is a good little quote here. Avoid spices that stimulate without nourishing, and fats that clog without strengthening. Now, we've heard that for years. Good fats like avocado. You hear that all the time. But anyway, good pointers within this whole book about things to do, and even has etiquette in here. Gives different sorts of. Here's the table etiquette. Let's see. Do not overload the fork. One I read is that do not serve toothpicks at the table. Do not rise from the table to reach anything. Never make hissing sounds when eating soup. Never overfill a spoon. Do not mop the face with a napkin, even if you're hot. Lots of good things here. Do not spread the elbows in cutting meat. I guess that means like that. You don't hit the person next to you. One of the ones in there that I thought was interesting, as opposed to a do not, it said, feel free to take the last portion. Don't be afraid to do that. And this has recipes here. It has St. Patrick's Day, Easter Sunday, 4th of July. And, 4th of July, I like this one. Start with fried chicken. That would be good. And it has a Halloween party. And it talks in here about having a Halloween party would be, and this book was written in 1902, is a good way to keep boys out of mischief. And there's a little turtle candy that they make in this in the shape of a turtle. Thanksgiving, Christmas menu, Valentine's Day, Oh, a menu for George Washington's birthday. Starts out with apples, corn mush and cream, Maryland fried chicken again. We might have to look that up. So anyhow, this has lots of great recipes. It has helpful hints for everything around the house that anyone would want. Even goes to the point of how to take care of one's health or the sick people in a family, and what remedies to use for that. Keep in mind during that time there was a lot of quack recipes. I mean remedies for people. It was starting. People were starting to get suspicious, as they had been. I don't think they were starting to, but after 1902, I think it was around 1914 or so, the government started to get a little bit more involved with what people could say about the quality of some things and controlled the different substances. That being said, there was one thing in here that I found that was the most interesting, and it was a handwritten recipe by my great grandmother. And this is what I'm going to do today. It's called the self-frosting lemon pie. Juice and rind, juice and rind of 1 lemon, yolks of 2 eggs, 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of milk, 2 tablespoonfuls of flour, line paste with pastry and dot with bits of butter. Beat the whites of eggs very stiff, add to the other ingredients, and bake slowly about 45 minutes. This is delicious. I like that last part about being delicious. Let me put this to the side. I don't want to mess up that recipe. It's got to be at least 100 years old. And I made a copy of it to follow here. We'll set that to the side. Let me wash my hands to get a little bit of old book residue off. And we will get things going with this pie dough. And I will do the usual thing of forgetting something. And I forgot the bowl. Dag nabbit. There we go. Yep, I have all the ingredients out, but didn't have the bowl. I'll get this down one day. And I'll do the usual thing of speeding things up so we can get through this a little bit quicker. We have our lard, flour. We'll use a little bit of butter, a little bit of salt. Here's the pie plate. And this, let's see, it says, oh, and if you're the first time watching this and didn't watch the first episode, what I'm trying to do here with these recipes is I'm not trying to make them the best that they are. I'm making them the way they're written as best I can in this day and time. I may see something in here that I can improve upon from doing other recipes, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it the same. And so I'm hoping that it will still turn out good. And there are recipes today. It tells you exactly what to do, how many minutes, how to test it. There's no problem. But back then, there was a little bit more. Ovens were not. Well, let's say 1902, people were still using wood ovens. That's very difficult to judge the heat on those. And they had gas ovens also, but it was very difficult to follow all these recipes and make it the same. So the ingredients, that was what was important. And hopefully the person preparing it, in most cases a woman, would be able to have knowledge that they have learned from like a book, like I just showed, in order to make the pie, the meat, or whatever delicious. So we're going to start with our flour. And I'm not going to focus on amounts and things like that because there's plenty of recipes out there for doing a pie dough. And like I said, I'm going to probably fast forward through this part because you can see this anywhere. Lard, half teaspoon of salt, cut it in. Cue the music. This is now, I think, good enough to go on. We'll see shortly. Put a little lard in the bottom of the pie here. And this is a Pyrex. And you may be thinking, oh, that's a new invention. No, I did my homework. Pyrex came out around 1915 by the Corning Company. And I looked up an old Montgomery Ward's catalog from 1920, and it's full of Corning products. So their glass products were becoming a big deal back in 1915. Now let's see if we can get this folded onto cheer. There's the halfway mark. Oh, I'm getting better at this. Yeah, almost got it on there completely. Okay, let's do a little bit of cutting. There's just too many things to remember. I actually did this first part, not up to this part. I realized I didn't have my microphone on. So that became a dress rehearsal. Still not too good on this part. That could be prettier. But we'll get there. Not looking for perfection at this point. And with this one, we're not cooking. It doesn't say to cook the dough first or the crust first. Some recipes do, but this will be cooked all at once. Okay, now on to the inside of the self-frosting lemon pie. We're back. And one of the things I forgot to say on the pie dough was that to dot it with a little butter. And so that was part of the recipe also. Now I'm going to separate 2 eggs according to the recipe or the receipt. If you watched the first episode, I explain all about that. And these are room temperature. That's something that I think that is standard. So let's see what happens if I can. Well, let's just try it here. Separate these eggs without getting any yolk into the whites, because I'm going to be mixing those whites to make a meringue, or somewhat of a meringue, that's going to go, that's going to be mixed in with everything. So there's not going to be a meringue on top, but it seems like that's the same recipe for a meringue for the whites. Come on. Okay. Oh, I got a piece of egg in there. And that is the death of mixing egg whites. Let's see if I can fish that out. Oh, got it. Success. Now, with the egg whites, typically you use cream of tartar, but it doesn't call for that, although you could use it back then. But this recipe doesn't have it, so I'm not going to use it. However, I do know that when you're mixing egg whites, you need some sort of an acid in there. Typically, you'd put in vanilla, and I guess that could be an acid, or vinegar. But in this case, I'm going to put just a teaspoon, because what it does is it helps. I don't know the science behind it, but supposedly it helps to get the pH level of the egg whites to a level that makes the egg whites stiffer. So that is at least the story. At least the story I've been told. So let's put a little bit. That's 1 teaspoon of that, of the lemon juice. And we'll put, this is a cup of sugar, cup of whole milk, lemon, the rind of lemon, of 2 lemons, and the juice of 2 lemons. Did I not? I didn't take out all those seeds. Ugh. Back to the semi-prepared chef. Glad this sink is right here. Come on. Get out there. I think there's one more that's running around there. If you've done this, you know how hard it is to get that last one. Like making a 3-foot putt in golf. You should make it, but a lot of times you don't. There's just one left, and I can't get it. Well, I think we'll be okay. I'll just scoop it out later. Okay, where were we? And a little bit of 2 tablespoons of flour that goes in there also. And so let's see. So I put in that. Oh yeah, I was going to put in a little bit of the azúcar, or the sugar. Ugh, let's see what that does. Hopefully that didn't just spoil everything. And no, I'm not doing it by hand. I'm doing it by hand mixer. Now this is the real mixerator. Well, let's see. I call that a stiff peak. Yeah, maybe not super stiff. Maybe I'll give it a little bit longer. That's been 2 minutes. Success. That I was worried about. And you can see here it is, the meringue. Now, of course, I need another bigger bowl, and I did not get it. I don't know why I don't just put all the bowls out. There we go. Now, we'll take the 2 egg yolks. Get out there. Oh, let's see. Oh, let's use the iron spoon. Hey, it does good with scooping. And we'll put in the sugar. Let's mix that together. And remember, I'm not a trained chef or a trained cook. I probably didn't need to make that disclaimer. There's that. Now let's add the milk. We'll go ahead and stick the rest of this stuff in here. Double check. Yep. We'll add the lemon juice without that seed I saw in there. Stay in there, seed. And we'll stop there and make sure that seed doesn't come out. And it called for a little bit of flour, I guess, to stiffen it up. That was about, called for 2 tablespoons. That was probably 1 tablespoon. That's 2. Well, this definitely should be lemony. There we go. That seed stayed in there. And we'll put a little bit of salt. Oh, I think that salt was left over from the other recipe. I don't think I needed that. No, I didn't put in much. Okay, I think that is mixed. Let's set that over here. Probably should use, let's use the iron spoon for at least some significant stirring. Yeah, it's a good stirrer. Probably just need something twice as big though. But it is the Iron Spoon Kitchen. That's mixed. Nothing sitting out. That's good. So now let's fold the meringue into it. You can see, yeah, that's pretty good. It's not falling off. Well, now it's falling off. Let's get all that in here. Looking good. So fold it in. Folding things into recipes is not a new technique. When I say new, in the last 75 years, it goes way beyond that. Okay, we're getting there. This will be interesting. Self-frosting lemon pie. I did look in the cookbook to see if this was in the cookbook. It was not, in case she just had written it down for herself, but it was not in there. And I looked it up on the worldwide internet, and it is not, nothing comes up with it with that title. You see it like for it's like a custard or something. Let's see what that. I was about to not follow the etiquette rule. I was going to use my fingers. Let's see how it tastes with the iron spoon. Tastes lemony. Oh, now, let's get this thing into the pie shell. Oh, that went good. I saw a lot of lemon rind in one area, though, when I was pouring it in. Maybe one part of this might get a little bit more than it should. I think we're ready for the oven. The next time you see me, I should have a done pie. The pie has been cooling for right at an hour. And I think I'm going to go ahead and try and cut it and see what we have here. It's definitely soft. Going through the crust okay. Very soft. Hopefully it's not too soft. Come on. It's coming. Oh boy, if that isn't fluffy. Let me stop this here. Get that off my fork. Okay, it looks a little bit runny, but that meringue did move to the top. I get down here. I guess that's what it meant by the self-frosting, because it looks like a meringue pie. Let's give it a taste. Excellent. May not be the prettiest thing, but it is tasty. Success. I think maybe if I did this again, what I would do is, I think I would cook that pie crust first and then pour the batter into it. But it tastes great. And it really did, I guess that's what it meant by self-frosting. Maybe it meant like it had the meringue on top, because somehow it all separated in there and the custard part went to the bottom and the meringue went to the top. And that, I think, is successful right there. All right, I'll see you in a bit for the closing. Okay, well, we got a pie. I do think I should have left it in just a little bit longer. I panicked at one point when I saw how brown the top was getting, but it really stayed about the same. It didn't get to the burn part, but maybe if I'd left it in another 10 minutes longer, maybe it would have been a little bit firmer. I would call that a success. I think that worked out, especially the part about the self frosting and how the egg whites just moved up to the top, and you had there, and then you had the custard part or the lemon part below it. So I'm impressed. I'm going to try to make this again some point and see if I can improve on that. I did put it in the oven for 400 degrees, and then I lowered it to 350 for a total of about 45 minutes, which is what it said here. It probably could have gone a little bit longer. But anyway, so that was a great recipe from my great grandmother. And I did a little research here. I was talking about the Pyrex pie plate there, and I found it in a 1920 Montgomery Ward's catalog. Pyrex deep dish pie plate, 9.5, 90 cents. You can get an aluminum pie pan, 9-inch aluminum pie pan, for only 29 cents. And then they had some double coated enamelware, and those were called Duro pie plates. They were 24 cents. So the Pyrex was definitely the cream of the crop at that time. Let's see. Oh, one more thing I want to add. Well, like in the last video, I have a couple of little bicentennial treasures to share. And one is of a United States Bicentennial silver uncirculated set. And this was the 50-cent piece, quarter, and dime from that period. And it's all made out of silver. Coins, is there a bug on that? Yeah, sure. Well, it was a dead bug. But I guess it's been a long time since I took this out, since 76. But you can still get commemorative coins like this. And I would recommend you get the silver ones so that they have actually some value to it. Otherwise, they don't. But my parents gave me that, and I'll just hold it up a little bit better. You have on the silver dollar back then, you had President Eisenhower. Then on the $half, you had President Kennedy. And on the quarter, you had George Washington. Then this is a $2 bill. $2 bills have been around for a long time, but they made a real big comeback in the Bicentennial because on the back, they put this famous picture. And the picture is called it's called the Declaration of Independence. And it's by John Trumbull. And he painted it over like a 30-year period from 1786 to 1820. And the picture, I know you can't see this, but you can look it up easily online. Wasn't quite sure about scanning any money, get in trouble or something. But the picture on the back shows the Continental Congress, and at the point where they are presenting the draft of the Declaration of Independence for the Continental Congress to consider approving. A lot of people make the mistake that this is them signing it, but that's not it at all. This is the moment where they have prepared. Jefferson has written the Declaration of Independence, and now they are presenting it to the Congress. So anyway, look that up. It's John Trumbull. He was the artist for it. And he actually, for those that he could, which was I think most of the delegates, he got their pictures and did their portraits in person so that he could have them exactly as they were. But he couldn't get all of them at that time period. Well, thank you for joining me for another episode. This book, again, was Woman's Favorite Cookbook and has lots of good things in it. I think that I'll be going through it again. But the real treasure was finding my great-grandmother's handwritten recipe in there. And that was a lot of fun, cooking something like that from probably at least 100 years ago. All right. Well, thanks for being here in the Iron Spoon Kitchen.